Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Get Dirty Garage, where today I think let's try and start dressing up that engine compartment. And you know, we've got the firewall smoothed out and so on, but with the LS in there, it was just ugly. So anyways, I think we got to do some damage control there, and so we'll see what we can come up with and try and make maybe an engine cover, some, I don't know, some other closeout panels or something. We'll figure something out as we go along, but we got a whole bunch of stuff to do and not much time to do it, so let's go ahead and let's get dirty. Is this thing on? Yeah. Okay, so I want to start working on dressing up the engine compartment, you know, working on trying to make like a engine cover, because the LS has, you know, tons of power, but it is ugly. So, you know, they make all sorts of covers and stuff for them, but man, they're expensive. So we're going to try and make our own as usual, just use what we got. And but in order to kind of, and maybe even kind of smooth out fender wells and, you know, radiator covers and stuff like that, make it look like it's, you know, custom. So anyways, but missing a couple of key things, and those would be an engine and a compartment. So bear with me, I guess, and while I stuff the engine back in here and try and put this front end back on, so we've got something to go with. I mean, we do have the firewall, you know, smoothed out, but we got a lot more stuff in here that's kind of ugly that we want to try and fix. So anyways, let's I'm going to go ahead and stuff the engine back in and try and get you know, radiator support and fenders and all that fun stuff on. I did go ahead and kind of rebuild the radiator support. Rebuild means I sandblasted it and painted it. So, yeah, but it was in good shape, so it should be good to go. But hey, listen, I know that probably 62.7% of you haven't subscribed yet. So if you get a chance, you know, go make yourself a snack while I'm doing this. Maybe a cold beverage or a warm beverage if you're someplace like I am, and we'll get this done. But if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get this front end back together here. So we'll pick it up there. Okay, well, I hope you guys got a good snack and a beverage. And I know it's only been a couple minutes on video, but in reality, it's been a couple of days because I took some time to make some brackets for the condenser and the cooling fans from the Camaro. So had a bunch of adaptations and stuff to do in there, but kind of got an engine in a compartment at this point. So time to try and clean this up a little bit and see if we can make it presentable. And I think I'm going to start with like just a cover, engine cover, I guess. Try and figure out something to kind of clean up the top of this, and then we can kind of figure out, front and sides and whatever. So anyways, so let's kind of dig into that and see if we can't figure out something for an engine cover here and go from there. Okay, gotta kind of figure out how to attach a cover. I think the original cover for the Camaro, which I don't have, the GM covers are plastic. They got a couple little hooks in the back. I think they go on these little brackets here and then snap down over something. I'm not sure what, but gotta find something that we can attach, kind of not permanently, but something that's removable and kind of can come on and off as necessary and easy. So thinking we can go to these fuel rails here, and kind of wandering through Home Depot the other day, I found these little clips for conduit, I think, in the electrical aisle. But I'm thinking that we can kind of modify these. Are just a couple of bucks for a bag, and if kind of take these ends off, I'm just going to kind of snip those longer ends off. I don't know where that went. Never see that again. But anyways, that way we've got just like a little clippage type of thing where I think we can go and kind of shove these over the fuel rail, and they will hang on, something like that, where we can put like two on each side, and then I've got these mounting holes in them. And I think what I can do is I can take kind of a longer bolt, if they clip onto here, and put a bolt through there, and that way I can chop these off, figure out kind of how high I want this to be, and then kind of build like a snap-on frame here. So at least that's my thought. And let me kind of make some of these things up. Just got some old 1/4-20, I don't know, random length bolts that I found in the bolt box. But let me see if I can make a couple of prototypes here, and then we'll see if we can't get some clippage to be able to hold that thing in place. So we will pick it up at that point. Okay, well, somehow in the junk drawer I did find 4 random bolts the same length or thereabouts. So I think if we install those about in those positions, that should give us kind of a starting point. See what from a height perspective, I think we got to be above all the fuel rails and fun stuff like that. So we'll take a guesstimate someplace in there-ish. And trying to make that level from, you know, the engine goes down by a few degrees. So I'd like that cover level in here. It needs to be level if possible. Something like that. I think I can probably make those the same length. And since these are just bolted on to this bracket clippy, what you call it, I mean, do have some adjustment up and down, but I think if we cut those off about there, find some metal to go in between, kind of build a little squarish frameage, something or other. And I think we might have at least a start or a concept here. So let me go ahead and chop those off, and then yeah, it should retain it, I think. Get 4 of those clips going there. Yeah, close enough. So let me chop those off and then figure out some material that I got laying around here and see if we can build kind of a frame to clip that on. So we will go from there. Okay, so I had a whole bunch of this 1/4-inch rod laying around from when we did the back bumper and the fascia and all that stuff. So since that's what I got, that's what we're going to use. So yeah, use what you got. But my thought is that, oops, never see that again either. But if I can put those, you know, basically build a square of this stuff, and then I can zap it down to these things and keep them kind of level and all that fun stuff. We should have a kind of a frame that we could set sheet metal to, and that way get kind of a good base, you know, to start building whatever from. So let's go ahead and kind of make a squarish looking thing out of this, and then we'll come back and try and zap it to those things. So you know, what could go wrong? We're just going to weld on the fuel rail thing. So yeah. Okay, so let's pick that up. All right, so let's see if we can get kind of right angles here and get things leveled, I guess. And we'll start with that. Gonna be someplace about there. I think we did pretty good. Goodish. Yeah, pretty close. Okay, so kind of straightish, but I think they're parallel-ish, so that should give us a place to start from and be able to kind of put that to the car and then see what we can do for justifying. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I got this propped up to where I think is about a 90-degree angle. I don't know, it's kind of close. But I'm just going to do a couple of quick tacks just to attach these bad boys. Burn all sorts of stuff down. Okay, I think we'll go finish welding that, but that should give us a kind of a repeatable clip strategy. It should hold things in place okay, I think. It doesn't need to be okay. So I think that will give us a spot to work from. So let me go kind of straighten these out and get a little bit of zapping in. So we'll pick it up at that point. All right, well, I got things zapped together a little bit and cooled down, and I think that should give us a platform, basically, to work off of. So we can start our CAD modeling process, I think, and try and figure out kind of shapes and wiggles and squiggles and things like that we want to do. I have to get a little bit of a relief back here and kind of up in here someplace. I'm just kind of spitballing stuff here, and let's see what we can come up with for just a initial design, I guess. Let's see what it really wants to be when it grows up. Because at this point I don't really have a thought in mind on how much to cover or where to cover it, but just know it's got to be covered because it's kind of ugly. Leafage for the dipstick. I don't know if I'm going to make it this wide or what the ultimate plan is, but it kind of gives you an idea, I guess, of how much of that I really need to relieve. If we go down with this front edge a little bit. We've got so many fuel rails and everything else in the mix that kind of slicing through one layer of this stuff, trying to put a fold line in there, I think. Get a little bit of relief around the brake booster. Okay, well, I think that's a start, anyways, on, you know, kind of what I want to accomplish. So it's got to be a little longer up in here. You know, cover some of this stuff up, but maybe I can make, you know, a front panel that kind of dips down a little bit and covers some of that stuff. So it's kind of getting to the right size, I think. Something of that nature. So let me see what I can dig out of the scrap pile for some sheet metal and thoughts, and maybe we'll get to doing a little bit of forming here. So let's take it up at that point. Okay, well, here's what we're going to start with, I think. So let me dig this old beast out of the snowbank and see if we can't make it something useful out of it. So yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, well, we're gonna go full frontal on the whole use what you got concept and see if we can kind of use what's left of this. And the reason I just pulled this out of the snowbank is it really kind of, you know, it's got some curves in it that I'm not going to be able to duplicate. I mean, some dents and dings and stuff like that, but I think, you know, we can kind of use this center section here to kind of roll off that front. Kind of like the way that looks. And then maybe use these sides to go along over the valve cover-ish, if you will. So let's go ahead and just get some surgery done here. Get this random stuff off. All right. Well, I think we can straighten out what we want to use there, but my thought is if you can kind of use this as a center section of that cover. Something like that. Then we can come in and kind of chop some sides off. You know, we're just kind of figuring it out. I mean, I have no idea if this is going to work, but we'll just play it by ear and see what we can come up with. So. Something along like that. So let me do some chopping here. And then we've got a bunch of dents to pound out, but I think it's a starting point. So. Pretty thin metal, but we'll see what we can do. Let me cut up the rest of this and see what the other side looks like. Go from there. Okay, so here's the pieces that I cut out, and actually I think it can be a decent start. Maybe we're ready to tack it together and call it a day. What do you think? Yeah, well, let's do a little bit of trimming. I want to fit this kind of center piece first, and then we can kind of figure out what we want to do with these sides, and you know how to put them in there and stuff like that. But before I spend a lot of time cleaning this stuff up, I want to see if you know, the concept itself works. So let's pick it up there. All right, so here's where we're at. I trimmed up that centerpiece kind of around all of this fun stuff, and got these side pieces, you know, a little bit trimmed, but I'm thinking something like that. Kind of looks like an upside down wheelbarrow, you know, but yeah, I guess it is. So anyways, I think it's close enough to a concept where I'm going to spend some time and clean these pieces up. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff to clean up since it's well loved, but I'm thinking that gets us in the ballpark of what I want, and we can obviously add some designs or whatever, but it'll definitely clean up that whole compartment. So anyways, let's spend some time and clean those up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got those cleaned up, and they don't look too bad. Kind of propped everything in position where I think it's kind of centered in the engine compartment. Got a little bit more trimming to do, but you know, kind of trimmed around the back portion of that, and hopefully got the angles kind of, the dangles about the same. So starting to look a little bit less like a wheelbarrow, but I think we've got a good starting point. So I think at this point, what I gotta try to do is attach this center section in place kind of where it's at. And then we can add the little wing ding thingies once that's in and centered and solid. So a couple of spots, I mean, I've got access to just the edge of that frame that we made, so I'll enlarge that hole a little bit. Then I think I can find the frame over on this side and then just do a couple of quick spot welds. We've got to fill in those holes anyways, so but let's see what we can come up with for figuring out how to get that center section attached, and then we can figure out the sides and then fill in all the blanks and do the rest of the trimming and such and so on. So anyways, I think that's kind of starting to take shape, so we will pick it up from there. All right, so I got these holes just a little bit bigger so I could find the little rails that we built here, and I think I got it pretty much in place and centered and all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna just tack this onto the frame right here real quick. Okay, hopefully that will hold the part in place. So that we're able to get this on and off of here. In a reasonable manner. So let's take this over and tack the frame down to this, and then we'll kind of fit everything back in there and go from there. All right, well, I just tacked that in just a few spots just to kind of make sure I can do what I want to do. And I think if I put it in kind of back in place, we can get that in there and good and solid on the engine, not touching anything. Except for that hose clamp, which we can move. So I think actually we're pretty good shape. Then I've got this marked out where these I think should connect. So I think I'll do a little bit of trimming, take some of this material off on both sides, get that squared up a little bit. And then we can kind of figure out, make sure our angles are the same. And then let's zap those wing things on there. So see how that goes. Like I said, we're making this all up as we go along. So we'll go from there. All right, well, I trimmed off some of that excess material in there and got it kind of back in here. And got things set and centered and did a whole bunch of measuring, got the angles within a half a dangle, I think, of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tack these wings on. And see if we can't do just a little bit more damage here. I think that gets us a whole replaceable concept here. See if we can repeat it back down in the same spot. Yeah, so that's the, we'll have to build a little bit of support into that, but I think after we tie all the corners and stuff together, we should be in pretty good shape. So let's pop this off and do a little bit of welding on that and figure out how to make the backs and fronts pretty, and we will pick it up from there. Okay, so I got those seams ground down, welded up, ground down. They're a little rough, but we got to body work this anyway. So starting to take a little bit of shape. We'll call these the power domes. Ooh. But I'm thinking, and gets me in trouble. I think I want to, you know, I marked out on these kind of a level line with this, and I think I want to trim both sides off even, and then instead of keep flaring out, I'm just going to do a little lip that goes straight down, and that will kind of close out, you know, behind that thing. So maybe inch and a half, something like that. But also got to close out these little gaps up here, so just made you know, a little patch I can zap in there. Close that gap up, and then on this side I'm thinking, rather than kind of how I got this all cattywampus and cut out and so on, I just bent up a chunk of metal, and I think maybe I'll cover this whole I don't know, throttle position, throttle something or other, so the go fast machine in there, and kind of put a cover that covers all of that, and just zap that in there and kind of chop this little mess off that I got. So that's what I'm thinking anyways. I think what we can do, let me just zap these couple of pieces on from the outside, do a little bit of trimming on the inside, and we'll see if we make those flush. Or, I mean, everything up in through here is kind of a lap joint, so it's not any big deal. But let me zap those in place real quick and take a look and see what you think. All right, well, I did get those patches in. They're not pretty, but they're certainly good enough for who they're for. So got the sides cut off level, I guess, and you know, the engine's at kind of an angle down, so you know, there's a little bit more exposure in the back. But I think if I go straight down here, maybe 1.5 inches or so, and kind of all the way across there, that'll kind of finish all that out. And I'm gonna block some more of the view. Got to work around like the trans dipstick that I installed. I may just bend that over a little bit. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But then kind of wrap around these corners and, you know, whatever. So let me cut out some strips and see if we can't figure out what we want to do with that. So making progress. I think it looks a little bit less like a wheelbarrow at this point. So we will pick it up at that point. Okay, so I made up a couple of strips, just, you know, straight, the width of a piece of tape that I had. And I think if I just go straight down, I think that'll give that a little bit of a closeout, and should be in pretty good standing, I guess, or shape, or you know, something like that. So I'm thinking that we can zap those on there, maybe, and then take it off, and then try and finish that up. So that's going to be my next step here. So we will pick it up from there. Okay, so you can see it got these sides kind of tacked on, both sides, and I think I'll actually try and weld that from the inside first. I got a lot of cleanup to do on the back side of this thing, but that way I can get, and it's oil cannon here in the middle a little bit, so I may have to add some additional supports and fun stuff like that, but I'm gonna try and zap these seams together, keeping this stuff as straight as I can, and that way I'll have some material on the back side, so when I grind a little radius in there, I won't grind through it. So at least that's the concept. So we'll get started on that and see if we can't clean up the back side of this thing a little bit, because it's looking a little rough. So anyways, we'll pick it up at that point. By the way, you know, I've come to realize, you know, being raised as an only child really causes issues later on in life, especially for my siblings. Okay, well, let's get some work done. All right, well, I got those sides on and kind of blended in, cleaned up a little bit in the back, and full disclosure, I put a chunk of 1/4-inch rod about yay long, welded it to the back side of both of these and then across the top to eliminate any of that oil canning that I was seeing. So I think it's nice and solid. It sits in there pretty good. Trim lines are okay, and now it's a whole bunch of body work and so on. But got to looking at this thing, just kind of wandering around thinking, and you know, the top of that looked kind of plain. And I think I came up with an idea to kind of dress that up. And might recognize these are the hood vents off of a '68 Camaro Super Sport, and I think, you know, I can put those on something like that-ish, and really dress up that top. They basically just have studs that go through. I'm not sure about the thickness and so on. I may have to do a little bit of cutting and adding and so on, but I think that would really kind of dress up the top of that. Looks a little bit like, you know, kind of like the old injection systems, but I always really like these vents anyways, and I wanted to try and incorporate them someplace in there, whether I used them on the hood or what, but I think that'll be a great place for it and dress that up real nice. So anyways, I'm going to do some laying out of where we got holes, and hopefully we can drill down through that without catching the frame that we built. But let me do some laying out and measuring, and then we'll knock some holes in that and see if we can get those, what it looks like when they're mounted up. So we'll go from there. All right, well, got those holes drilled and stuck that back in the car. Looking at these, I think I may have to build up like an edge. I mean, there's a screen that goes in there, and then there's this backing plate. So I think that's going to sit a little proud. Yep. Just a little bit up. So in the 68 SS hoods had little bump ups and so on, but I think that that's really going to dress that up nice. I think what I can do, just dinking around a little bit, I had a 1/4-inch square rod that I bent, and I think I can do something like this, and then make just basically a form that's the same size as that, and that way I can kind of blend that in with the body work and so on, so there'll be raised up and closed out and have something down, something to bolt to. So I really like the look of those. So I think we're on the right track. So let's get some more of this 1/4" square stuff and do some bending and grinding and welding and fun stuff. So we'll pick it up from there. Okay, so I dug out a couple of pieces of that 1/4" square rod, I guess, and I'm going to just start by making a 90-degree bend, or as tight as I can here, and see if we can match that radius that I had on that little sample piece. Just a little brute force is all required. Straighten out that side of the bend. Okay, 89.8 degrees. Perfect. Okay. All right, well, I think what I'll do is I'll take this and just kind of measure out, lay it up against the trim, and see if I can figure out exactly where the next bend needs to be, at least close, and that way it's just a little bit over 90. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. I'm going to lay out where the next bend has got to be, and then we'll continue forming around. And I don't think this piece is going to be long enough, so we'll have to patch in a spot over there. So, but that's what I'm going to make that little I don't know, riser out of. So we'll go from there. Okay, as I kind of suspected, that piece wasn't long enough, so I have chopped out another one, kind of measured it out. So let's just zap these together and then we'll check the fit. Okay, so putting these two together, I mean, you're really close. Kind of fits the corners pretty well. Just a smidgen long, but I think that's perfect. We'll just taper things in. One thing that I do notice is that these have a very slight curve to them that goes kind of that way, I think, just to match the hood. So I'm going to do the same with my frame here, and it's not much, but just enough to drive me crazy. So, you know, we'll just a smidge of, okay, I think that's a smidge. Yeah, that lines up pretty good there. So I think we are in good shape. Be able to put those on and kind of tack them in place. So let's see if we can't locate them on the cover. Okay, well, I got those both formed and kind of trimmed and all that fun stuff, and the curve to the wheelbarrow is a little bit more than the curve of the trim pieces, so I had to just prop in a couple of pieces of welding rod in there. But I think at this point, I mean, I got these all taped up. I'm just going to tack these rings on, and then we'll pull the trim pieces off, and then be able to you know, do the welding around like the inside perimeter and stuff like that. So we'll get these zapped in place here. Okay, well, I think those are in place. I'm going to go ahead and pull these the vents off, and then kind of weld around. I think I'll weld around on the inside rather than the outside, and that way it'll give me some space to, you know, kind of form in there with all the body work and fun stuff. So we will pick it up at that point. Okay, so I just tack these in place every couple inches. That's more than enough to hold everything in place, I think. So now is the start to the long, tedious bodywork process. So my plan is to kind of put a little radius, I guess, you know, kind of blend these in, and then keep the rest, you know, maybe a dip in the center there. So that's the plan, but there's a lot of Bondo and you know, sanding in my future. So you guys have seen me do that more than once, and I don't think it probably needs to be repeated, but we'll catch up as we go through that process and on the other side. So we'll pick it up from there. Okay, well, after many hours and several epic piles of dust and debris later, I think I got this to the point where we are ready for a little bit of primer, and I think we can take that into the paint room. Got it shaped, I think, how I want it. So we'll see how the primer comes out, see how smooth I was able to get it, but tried to finish the sides flat and all the curves curved and stuff like that. So anyways, I'm gonna go put a little bit of primer on this, and then we'll do some block sanding on that, and then put it all back together and see where we're at from there. So we'll pick it up at that point. Okay, well, I took this a step or two further than primer and actually put some paint on it just to make sure that the surface was smooth and stuff. And I just used the wheel paint that we painted some of the interior trim in. So I don't know if we'll leave it this color or what I'm going to end up doing with it, whether it's body color or whatever. But I think it's smooth enough and looks pretty good. So last thing to do is just to drop these vents in there, get those tightened up, and then we can put this on the car and take a look and see how we did, and everything came out like we think it would or could or should or something like that. So let me get these fastened on here, and then we'll take a look on the car. Okay, a little bit of moment of truth action here. And we'll see if we can get this thing located. Need to do adjusting on one of those legs, but yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. Looks like just catching that brake booster just a little bit, but we can cut that edge down. But really, I think it does what we were looking for and kind of covers part of the ugly in there. Looks a little bit like the old velocity stacks, but I think you know, these radiuses smoothed out pretty well and come quite a ways from being a wheelbarrow. So I'm excited. I like it. I think we will call that one a win. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Let's Get Dirty Garage. I mean, this was a long time in putting together, because there was a lot of moving parts and non-moving parts and just a lot of parts. But I think we've come a long way from just a random wheelbarrow sitting in a snowbank. We've got something that resembles the engine cover and helping dress up that LS just a little bit. And but I really like it, and I think it's kind of fitting with the theme of the car. We'll see what color we end up keeping everything. But anyways, leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Love interacting with you guys. We read them all and respond to everything that we can. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. But anyways, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend. There's a little notification bell, dinger, buzzer thing. You can hit one of those too when we do get a new one coming out. So, but yeah, anyways, we appreciate it so much, and we appreciate you guys. So hope your family's doing well, and we will see you next time. Take care.